a little conversation about how social media works with your paid ad strategy. A lot of people think that social media is something that they cannot afford. They think that it's a lot of work and they should not be putting money into it. And instead, just all of the budget should go into paid ads.
You're running a business, so behind that comes a lot of different responsibilities that you have to hold on to. It's all about how far do you want to take your business.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Solutions 8 channel. This is Ari Pauline and Priyanka. Today, we're starting a conversation about social media and ads and how it has an effect on your community. Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Great, great, great. Just post-holiday season or mid-holiday season. I don't know what day it is. Is it November? Is it December? God knows.
December. How did it get to December already?
I have no clue. We blinked and we're here.
Honestly.
Right? All right, so we're going to have a little conversation about how social media works with your paid ad strategy. A lot of people think that social media is something that they cannot afford, and it's like a luxury that they cannot afford, and they think that it's a lot of work and they should not be putting money into it, and instead, just all of the budget should go into paid ads. What do you think about this, Pri?
Well, of course, social media is a lot of work. You're running a business, so behind that comes a lot of different responsibilities that you have to hold on to. It's all about how far do you want to take your business. So what social media differs from your ads is that your ads are actually funneling through to create that different type of funnel for yourself. So you're looking for purchase at that point. What your social media is going to do is create a community behind your product and what your messaging is. And that's kind of how you form that long-lasting connection with your customers.
Absolutely. I always tell everyone, like, how would you feel if someone knocks on your door and says, "Hey, here it is, buy from me." Like, I don't know you. Who are you? That's why we need to build all of these relationships through social media, and that's what the social part of media is in there, right? We need to build this community, these relationships, create content that resonates with our audience, and for that we need to know who are we speaking to. And that is one of the most common errors, right? Like how often do you see a brand that doesn't know who are they talking to?
Oh, so many times. It's like you understand what the voice is that you want to put out there, but how to message it over. And the biggest thing to do with that is just look at who's following you, look at the community that you're also including yourself in, look at other creators for that chance. The best topic of discussion I can give you for that type of community is beauty. There's so many different beauty influencers that are out there. There's different skin colors, different ages, different ethnicities. Everyone's kind of just jumbled into one, but that doesn't mean that you have to stick to that one niche and follow that one brand. You have so many levels of brands that you can follow and what they've done in the past and what they're currently doing to kind of create that community. Another great example is anyone that has to do with apparel. You see so many different brands kind of imitating the same design, but you don't understand where you want to put your foot towards. So try and model what is it that you're creating? What is it that you want people to feel when they're wearing your clothes or using your skincare, perfume, whatever it is that they're doing? What is it that you want them to embody and why do you want them to purchase? Obviously, the short answer is that you want to make money. You're an entrepreneur, but what else do you want to do besides that?
Okay, competitors. I wanted to talk about competitors, right? Because you were saying about looking at other brands, and a lot of people think that that is a big no-no. It doesn't mean that you have to copy everything that they do, right? You can get inspiration. There are a lot of brands out there in your same line, business line, that are doing fantastically, or they are doing something that you would like to replicate and adapt to your niche and to your audience. And that is okay too. That is a way of growing and learning to yourself, testing if it works with your audience, and if it doesn't, then adapt it, and that is okay as well.
Oh yeah, because like if you're selling the same products, for example, going back to cosmetics, one company is selling a $50 lipstick, right? And you're trying to imitate it to be, let's say, $15 to $20, right? You're already being competitive to that brand because of your price point. But what else is it that you can kind of, I don't want to say you're stealing those people's potential revenue, but what you're doing is building a smaller community for people who can probably afford it. And in this economy, that is always great. So with that too, you're kind of building a foundation of a community where maybe someone's starting out with makeup and maybe they're just trying to save money, whatever it is, you're helping them build that community. And with that, you're also upping your own brand value. That's the biggest thing. So we see a lot of people come through and say, One of my biggest things is profit. I want to create profit a little bit higher. I want to up my name more. What is it that you're doing besides working with us and creating these great ads to build that? How else are you keeping these people from leaving you and going to someone else?
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Then we were talking about building a community instead of just coming directly and say, hey, bye, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody likes just coming out of the cold and saying bye. So a best way of warming up your audience and building your community is through social media. You're putting your product out there, you're putting your message, you're putting your offer, and when the person is ready, they'll take that step and they will know where to find you. And if it's the first time that they are seeing your ad for the first time because they searched for something similar, they can go check your profile and see if it's a match and if they want to take that step. And that offer needs to be always there, but it doesn't need to be promotional 100% of the time. You need to provide value content, educational content, entertaining content as well. And then, of course, a sprinkle of promotional, because in the end, as you said, what you want to do is close that sale and make revenue, of course, but you are not selling all the time. You need to warm up your audience and learn how to tend to them and how to care for them.
Yeah, exactly. Because like one of the biggest mistakes I think that we've seen before is that people will consistently keep some sort of coupon code on their website, thinking that's what's going to drive people after they see X amount of ads of them, go to the website, see a discount code, and that's it. What about the follow through afterwards? Yes, you're probably sending them emails, but are you building that community that lets them know, oh, there's a new flavor out this month? Oh, there's a new scent out? They don't know any of that information because it's just been a one-time purchase, it's done, and you're done with it, right? How are you conveying that message to them to make them want to come and try you even further? Look at restaurants. That's like the biggest way that you can look at it. There's something new, they have an email page, it goes out, they have something promotional, they're always doing something to stay relevant. That's how you kind of have to put yourself into it, right? Otherwise, what will happen, you'll be a one-time purchase for them and then you'll never hear from them again. There's going to be another name on your email list till they choose to disunscribe themselves from it.
It's a long-term relationship. Absolutely. I agree with your and it's not something that you have to do only once. Even if it's like a larger value product that you like you purchase once and then it takes a very long time, maybe going back to cosmetics, you have your face cream, right? And it you cherish it so much, or the one that you do around your eyes, and that lasts for months and months and months. You still love and follow that same brand because you're devoted to them. You like what they do, you like what they do for your beauty and for your face, and you start recommending it, but then you keep consuming their content online because they're providing this nurturing throughout the relationship. It's not a one-time thing. It's not like kiss and
No.
run. It's more like, let's stay together and build this together.
Exactly. Like look at the bigger names out there. We would keep coming back to cosmetics, but let's go back to cosmetics. Some of those big brands that you see in Ulta or Sephora, how often do they have some sort of discount going on? Rarely. So what still happens? They've built this dedication behind this brand for anyone that's a consumer. They have this dedication towards it. Yes, they may venture out and try something else, but they're still always going to be loyal to you. What does that have to follow? What is it that they're putting on social media, their newsletter, the way that they're conducting themselves in a way to be clean, fresh beauty, right? So same thing would transfer over to clothing, shoes, anything like that. You're showcasing it in a way where people want to become a part of your community. That's how you have sneakerheads, right? Which guy actually needs or girl needs that many sneakers in their life? No one. But they
No.
become a part of this community. It's a lifestyle now for them. It's a way that they feel like they're involved in something else that's maybe a little bigger than them. Maybe it's something that just helps them feel this different desire of wanting to be artsy in a different way, right? No matter what the idea is behind it, they're still a part of that community and they're consistently going to purchase throughout it, whether there's a discount code or not, whether you're brand new or not. You're just built that idea behind it, right? You just got to keep following through with it. And a lot of people we see, they're concerned of making themselves look like these billboard ads. Look at some of the biggest brands out there. How are they actually doing their ads right now? UGC content, low budget. They're doing something that makes people relate to them. And that's how you kind of build that community. You want to be as relatable as possible.
The question is, if Meta's metrics aren't as reliable, meaning we don't really need to focus on them, then why would anyone hire us? It's the first one. The
Mm.
second one is, don't you think if a client is focused on metrics and saying things like the CPA isn't good or the